and welcome back. I'm so excited that you guys have opted to join me again, because as you know, we love to highlight influential people, not just locally, but people all over the United States that add value to our lives every day. So with us is no stranger to our show. I have with us again, Miss Dana Flanagan. Dana, how are you today?
I'm great, Rhonda. Thank you so much for having me again. I appreciate it.
Because you know what? It's so funny. We have certain people that come on the show, and I will get phone calls or emails to the station and or to my social media, and they'll say to me, "Listened in this week. What a great episode. Where are you finding these people?" So the whole concept of having radio, but also having other platforms is just for exposure. And I love that I have the opportunity to really highlight some of the people I work with. And you're always a good guest.
Oh,
I
well, thank you. You're such a good
we
host.
chat a lot, but you're a good guest because you know how to keep the conversation going. And there are a lot of people that I would love to highlight, but they have analysis paralysis and
Right.
they are afraid of what I'm going to speak to them about. And they become actually a difficult person for me to bring on the show. They may have a great product or a service, but we can't highlight it because there's just nothing fluid in the conversation. So it makes it a little challenging. But we left off with you last time. You were getting ready for this massive life change. You were relocating from Connecticut to North Carolina. So let's start right there. It's been a few months.
Mhm.
You are still a force. And during that time, you said to me, on the air in conversations, I'm not giving up on anything that I've started. I'm just moving forward and I'm creating bigger opportunities for myself. So what has Dana been up to in the last few months?
Oh gosh. Well, moving our entire life from Connecticut to North Carolina was a big step. Um, we didn't know really that many people in the area. What drew us to the area, we're actually on Lake Norman, just outside of Charlotte. We're big lake people, and this was our dream, is to live on the lake and do our water sports and have a longer season. And also just be in a really active community and near a major city. And we just went for it. There's no real good time. It's kind of like you find the right property and you're like, are we doing this? And that's really how we just pulled the trigger, really, and got down to the Charlotte area and got involved in many different groups and got to meet a lot of people. It's funny because I was at an event last night and one of my girlfriends made an introduction. She's like, she already knows so many people here. It's crazy. She's only been here for 5 months. And it's really just about creating relationships. And, no one's going to come knocking on your door asking to be your friend or your business associate or, a customer. Just like business, you have to go out and make those relationships. So it's been great. Best thing we did. And the community is so welcoming. People are so friendly. And we're really living that lifestyle that we've always dreamt of.
You're saying so many things that make me want to ask you so many questions. It's very intimidating to a lot of people to walk into a room for the first time. How did you handle yourself being in a new city, in a new state, saying, I've arrived? Like, what did that conversation look like for you so that maybe somebody can learn something from maybe the style in which you use?
Sure. And I'm not going to say that I'm not, that it's super, super easy for me all the time too. I mean, everyone, um, I'm sure at some point gets a little uneasy or a little nervous. I don't know what that's the right word, but, um, the nice part is that everybody is really friendly and most people here are from somewhere else, which is great. You have a lot of people from the north. There's a synergy there immediately because if you just ask people, where are they from, they're really not from this wasn't their hometown growing up. So um I really do try to practice it often. I try to go to events even if I don't want to. um I try to have a new people that I'm meeting at different events. I'm not going to the same things all the time. So I really do try to put myself out there. And it's like anything, right? Like if you're dating, you got to put yourself out there. If you want to make new friends, you got to put yourself out there. You want to make business contacts, you have to put yourself out there. So that's really what I've done. And the community has really welcomed me with open arms. And I really do feel like I know so many people already because I've made the effort to do so.
How are you maintaining the relationships and or minimally the contacts that you've made? Because that in itself can become very overwhelming. And that for me is one of the reasons why I don't go out as often as I did, because sometimes you can only meet and maintain so many relationships at once. Like what is your system for how you meet and maintain those relationships?
Oh gosh. Well, it is exhausting. I will say that. I don't have children, so I don't have that, just that added distraction throughout the day. I mean, I have the extra time that maybe some people don't have. Um, I do try to touch base with people. If I haven't talked to them in a while, I'll just check in, invite them to something. Um, and it's hard. There are people that I'm like, wow, I haven't talked to them in a really long time. And I've been meaning to reach out, but I just haven't. And you know how that is. It just life gets busy and it's hard. But I do try to go through people that I haven't talked to in a while and sort of like my database just to kind of touch base with people. But I have a newsletter too. So I send out a newsletter, make sure that a lot of people get that as far as my business contacts. So I make sure I'm touching in different ways. A lot of social media too. One thing I've really been increasing is my video on social media. And it's not all business. Some of it's just about what's going on in my life. And I
Your
feel,
mark.
yeah, I feel like people connect, they feel connected to you when they're seeing a video or they're seeing some of your a glimpse into your life, so to speak.
What has been the toughest part about the transition from Connecticut to North Carolina?
Really just honestly, the changeover of insurance, licenses, registration, all of those things are honestly just like the most daunting tasks, waiting in line at the DMV, not able to get an appointment, those just annoying, pieces of moving that have to get done are probably the worst part, honestly. Even the move, I mean, it happened to be sideways rain when they were packing up the moving truck in Connecticut, and it couldn't have been worse weather. And we just dealt with it. It was the first week of April, and it was actually snowing the morning of our move, and we were driving 14 hours straight to North Carolina, towing our boat, dogs in the car. I mean, it was just kind of a disaster when you're trying to leave and your garbage cans exploding at the end of your driveway and you're just like, this is it. We're doing this. So you look back now and it was all just like such a blur.
I love that you took the leap of faith in not just what you wanted to do, but you knew what you wanted to do next. And I think that so many people want to do something different, but they are in fear of trying something new. They're in fear of not being accepted and or we use the word failure. So one of the reasons why I love to bring you on the show is because you're able to kind of highlight the positives and negatives and address some of the concerns that people have and they look at you as a role model in that space, whether or not you want to admit it.
Right.
They look at you as a role model in that space because you have a very dynamic aura about the things that you want to do. And I think that's very admirable. So once again, this is why we bring Dana Flanagan on to our show as often as we can. So what I want to talk to you about next is this transition. You moved from Connecticut to North Carolina. You were committed to staying engaged in the real estate and the finance space. Let's start first with finance.
Mhm.
You were getting engaged in high-end business deals and raising capital. How has that journey been for you, and what has been your overall experience?
Well, I got into the business and because in real estate, a lot of people were asking me for funding for projects and mostly real estate projects all over the world, really. And I was involved with some high net worth individuals in South Florida where we have another home. And I started to look into how I could get more involved in this process and who do I go to? And, what is private equity? What is venture capital? I really just researched how I could get more involved. I researched the business, and I basically taught myself how to um, get funding deals and get them from point A to point Z, really. And so it took a long time. It was a long time of not getting paid, and it was a lot of fail forwards. I mean, a lot of trial and error. Do I just act as a connector? Do I actually create a business and bring these people in? Like, how do I do this? And I started one way, I tried it another way. I just really had to kind of try what worked. And it took a bit, but we definitely have a really great group of people now. We have a really great system, and we're able to help people with their funding needs worldwide, whether it's a non-real estate deal, whether it's a startup, whether it's a multi-million dollar deal. We're able to help people and point them in the right direction. And we've got a lot of really great funding sources that our capital markets team has access to now. So it's taken a long time, and I've been burned. I had, some people promised to pay me and they didn't. It's definitely been, it hasn't come without a lot of stress and just feeling defeated sometimes, and just really picking yourself up and continuing to move forward. And actually, I've got some of the biggest deals of my entire career closing in the next couple of weeks. So that's what is all worth it. And it's not really the money. I mean, the money's great, and obviously that's why we work. But it was one of these deals is helping change someone else's life.
Yeah.
Like, this is somebody that had a dream, and we were one of the only people that were able to help them. And they said, thank you for changing my family's life. And that's why we do those things. And that's why we help people. And that's always what it's about, is when you help others, in the end, it pays you back tenfold.
It does. And, even, obviously from the consulting side, I'm working with small businesses and medium, large size businesses every day. And I think what happens is there's a lot of times when I'm having conversation and people will say to me, oh, you deal with all these businesses and executives. How great is that? You're around all these influential people. But you and I, we've discussed it, not every deal closes. Just
Right.
because you have a great concept does not mean you're fundable. Just
Right.
because you need money or you have access to capital, are you making good decisions? Right.
Mhm.
So, we have clients, and you and I have spoken about this, where sometimes we're in the seat that could make or break, somebody's opportunity. I have a client right now. They want more money. Their
Mhm.
business cannot afford more money. So they're just compounding the problem, but they are so focused on just their growth that they're, again, an analysis paralysis, I use that word again. They're just so focused on moving forward that they're not thinking about everything else that's surrounding the business and what makes them potentially fundable, for real deals in the future.
Mhm.
And when we're talking about a lot of these transactions, you're hitting it on the head. It's relationships, and it's taking time to tell their story. A lot
Mhm.
of the other organizations, you and I both know, being in a position as a connector, somebody with good resources, you and I might not necessarily sit down and underwrite a file every day. Right?
Right.
We might just say, we have access to this information. This is our client's profile. We're going to, clean it up to the best that we can. And then it goes to a decision maker.
Mhm.
Our job is to make sure that those files look presentable, but they
Mhm.
don't all close.
Right. Mhm.
All close.
There is a lot that doesn't, and there's a lot that's not fundable, bankable, we call it.
Yeah.
And it's really not as easy as people think it is. I see a lot of brokers that sling deals around to see if they stick. And I can tell people that know what they're doing versus people that are just hoping and praying wishing on a prayer, and they don't ask the right questions. They don't qualify these deals. Sometimes these are deals that I've already seen, if they're hotels or resorts, I see them often, and even though they're off market. And if you start asking questions to the person that's sending you the deal, they don't have any answers. They don't even know who the principal is. And you just know that these people are just full of it. So if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. You really have to take the time and effort to get to know people in the business. And just like anything, it's a small industry. It's a large industry, but again, the circle's small, and you'll see the same people at the same events, and somebody knows somebody. So you always want to do right by your customer, and you always want to do right by the people that you work with too, because there's, word travels.
You and I have spoken about people within the industry in itself. What do you think was your biggest takeaway when you first got involved in the funding? Like, what was the most exciting thing or aha moment where you went, oh my God, I get it, like that connector, that aha, I get it now?
I think that anybody that I sent business to initially could not handle the level of volume of clientele that I could send over. And I thought to myself, where are these companies getting their business? If they don't have someone like me doing business development, or somebody doing sales or prospecting, whatever you want to call it, I find that these, if they're very, maybe they're a financial guru and they are, um, on the phone all day doing finance stuff. They're not a salesperson. They're not a connector. Those types of people need someone like me to be able to bring the business in. And when I saw how many people were coming to me for funding needs, I said to myself, wow, I really have something here with the relationships that I've created with people all over the world. And so I know I can go anywhere with this business. If one company doesn't want me, someone else will. Who doesn't want unlimited leads and good leads and good clients? A lead is great, but I mean new clients that actually are fundable. Who doesn't want that in that business? Who doesn't want, just like anything, what mortgage broker is going to turn down multiple buyers? It's the same thing. It's just on a larger level.
And it's a very unique industry. And I think that, one of the challenges is being able to filter the good from the bad and try to forecast what an underwriter is seeing on a file. There are so many cases that I've looked at where I've loved a deal. I've loved it. If I had the money, available, I would be, funding it myself just to be
Right.
part of that deal. But unfortunately, you're looking and you're trying to put yourself in the position. And I'm still learning every day. We have files that come in that I think are super clean, and I'll get a phone call, and with one question, even at my level of experience, sometimes I sit back and I go, wow, was I that naive?
Right.
Did I really just miss that cue? Like that
Right.
was just too easy. And I know that you're building a lot of these relationships. What relationships are you still looking for?
Well, I'm always looking for people that need funding. I'm always looking for somebody that is extremely connected, that would want to partake in the referral process, because we do um, pay out a referral fee to people that provide us with good clients. So I think, any connection I feel in the real estate funding venture capital world is a great connection. I love people that are doing big things, real estate projects, especially US based. Those are people that I want to be introduced to. So if somebody that's looking for funding for their real estate project, those are a home run for us. So, and those can be done fairly quickly because it's a tangible asset. And that's a way for a referral partner to make some extra income.
Which is wonderful. Again, love, love, love having you on the show when we have the opportunity to finally catch up. So again, we are speaking with Dana Flanagan. I always want to position her first as my friend and then an amazing businesswoman. Let's jump into something else that you're working on. We know that your background is real estate. So
Right.
a lot of the things that you do are finance and real estate, right? We're talking about different things, but you have taken this new leadership role within the real estate space with a new company that's up and moving. You and I spoke about it, and I love what is being presented. So why don't you take a few minutes to share where you are, what your new leadership position looks like, and how people could engage in this new company.
Sure. Yeah. So I have 22 years in real estate, been everything from a top producing realtor, licensed in multiple states, sold all sorts of properties all over. And I am sort of at the point in my career where I don't want to just continue working with sellers and buyers. And that is a great piece of the business. And it's something I literally can do with my eyes closed. But I'm at the stage of my career where I really just want more, and I want to work at a higher level with a growing company. And I found that in this new company that is called Epic Realty. And Epic is a national, a fast growing brokerage. It is AI driven, and which is great because it's got so much technology and so many tools to be able to help move the industry forward with and the agents forward in this industry at this challenging time in real estate. There's been a lot going on with I'm sure everyone's heard of the lawsuit with the National Association of Realtors has changed the way that we do business, and everybody has had to pivot. And a lot of realtors have had to make changes to their business. So the timing couldn't be more perfect if you're looking to put some money back in your pocket as a realtor. You've got a lot of benefits that you can take advantage of. And as many people know, realtors are paid by commission only, and all of the expenses are generally on that individual. So it's great because there are so many benefits that are included. And a few of those are things that you wouldn't normally think with a real estate company. You've got health insurance, vision, dental, prescriptions. You've got pet care, which is great. I actually just signed up for that myself for my two dogs. And you've got other benefits to the realtor, like a free transaction coordinator, free listing photography, so you don't have to pay a professional photographer. You've got a billboard in your hometown for as long as you're with the company, that billboard stays up, free business cards, free signs. I mean, you've got a free website for your listing. I mean, you've got so many different tools that are available to help you do your business that before there was a cost associated with every single one of those. So I mean, I myself am saving thousands a month just being associated with this company.
It sounds like they offer a tremendous amount of support. One of the things that, and I say this respectfully, there are a lot of people that want to become a realtor, but they are doing it on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
So, oh, my sister wants to buy a house and I'm staying home, so I want to become a realtor. There's only a handful, I think, at the top level that are real professionals in their space. Everybody's fantastic. They have the right heart, but it doesn't mean that they're dedicated full-time, realtors that really get to understand the depths of their community and the process within itself. So when you are out there recruiting, are you recruiting other high performers like yourself that don't need the support? Or because this is an AI driven concept and they're given a market coordinator, is that something where you can take somebody that just passed their exam who may not be tech savvy, but say to them, we're going to show you and walk you through? Like, what does that look like from somebody who may not be as experienced in the process?
Sure. Well, Epic offers a lot of training, free mentorship, and you also get a lot of different online virtual training. There is a class literally every hour that you could sign up for. And it's, you go on and some of these, there's multiple people in these trainings. So you have access to everything at your fingertips, which is great in today's day and age and busy world. I mean, if you want to log in and watch a webinar while you're on an airplane, you can do that. And I think it's a great opportunity for a newer agent because you do have the mentorship and you do have everything accessible via your phone. And it's also great for a seasoned agent, someone like myself that knows what they're doing. It's a great opportunity to get into a company early. And I'll mention another piece of Epic. You have what's called a revenue share program. So if you're an agent and you join Epic, and let's say your friend wants to know more about it, and your friend signs on and they name you as a sponsor, you're actually going to make 10% of the company dollar off of everything that they do. So there's a great opportunity to not only make money listing and selling homes, but also by attracting agents to the company, which is really what my focus is growing this brand nationwide and then globally. And you actually will be getting residual income monthly on the people that you attract. So it's a really great opportunity. There's also stock options too, and the company does plan to go public at some point. So getting in early to a company like this is a really, really great gift if agents understand the magnitude of how big of an opportunity that is.
You know, I'm hearing the word nationwide. So a lot of times when an organization opens, they predominantly focus on one area. I'm assuming because this is an AI driven organization, there's no real, I'll say, quote unquote, home office.
Mhm.
How does everybody connect? How are they learning more? Like, how did you stumble upon them and say, this is my next opportunity?
Yeah. Well, there is so every state has to have a state broker. You have to have an office address in every state. So we are open right now in 35 states. We are growing very quickly. There's about a little under 4,000 agents right now. So when you think about some of these companies that have been doing this a while, Keller Williams is one of them, EXP is another. If you had gotten into those companies early, I mean, I was at Keller Williams for years, but in 2014, they already had 100,000 agents when I was with them. So you think about getting into those companies early and where you would be now if you got into a company like that early. That's where we are with Epic. And when you join the company, you've got your state broker, of course. They are there to make sure that everything is compliant. You also have an area leader, and that person should be within a 25-mile radius of you. The area leader will contact you as soon as you join the company and offer guidance and support, and they're there for you every step of the way. You also have the person that helped you join the company. So you have what's called your sponsor. They don't technically owe you anything when it comes to, they don't have to provide guidance or mentorship. When people join the company under me, that is something that I provide to my organization. So I'm there as a resource, no matter where they are in the company. I'm there to work together with them. They want to do an event. They want to maybe attract agents in their area to the company. I'm there to help set them up for success. So it's a really, really great opportunity to be able to work from anywhere. If I've got multiple people that are licensed in multiple states, and you get one cap. So it's an 85-15 split with a $15,000 a year cap. If you're licensed in multiple states like I am, that's only one time. It's not in every single state. And I've been with companies where it is, and that makes it really challenging to get ahead in the company if it's structured that way.
You know, it sounds like it's really exciting. If somebody wanted more information about Epic and or how to go into your down cycle, I'll say it like that, right? We don't want them to go to Epic. We want them to go to Dana Flanagan.
Sure.
How does somebody, call you or get engaged and find out more information about whether or not this is the right fit for them?
Absolutely. They can absolutely go on the website and check it out. It's joinepic.com, and Epic is spelled EPIQUE. So it's spelled a little different. Then they can also just send me an email at dana@danaflanagan.com, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that they have. And I do have some information that I can share with them.
Which I love. And you do have a webinar that you're able to share. And there was some basic information that you and I discussed. So again, if you are a agent and or a broker and you are looking to maybe part ways with the organization you're with, or maybe you're a small mom and pop and you're looking for a bigger organization to be part of, please reach out to Dana. Again, dana@danaflanagan.com. She can answer all your questions about Epic. So with that said, we're jumping into our final segment of today's show. So what I'd love to talk to you about now is just about being an entrepreneur, what the market looks like, the mortgage industry, the insurance industry, the real estate industry, it doesn't really matter. I feel like where we are, we have an upcoming election. I definitely don't want to talk politics, but we have an upcoming election. What is your feeling about where the market is at right now? And what do you think it's going to look like by year end?
Well, I get that question a lot, actually. And an election always affects the real estate market. We find that a couple months, especially when you start seeing all the political ads and they start to just be everything you see on TV, that's when you start to see things kind of slow down. And you'll just see people maybe holding off. I had somebody that wants to list their home with me send me a text that they're going to list after the election. I'm not really sure what that's going to do to change
I don't
everything.
understand what that means. Either you're moving or you're not.
I know, right? So, I think they want to see how things are going to shake out. And I mean, it's funny because people do wait and it does affect the market, but then people just pick up back up with what they were going to do anyway. So it always kind of is funny to me, like, okay, regardless of who's president, people still want to move or go through with their move, like you just said. So it's funny that people just want to wait and see what's going to happen. And then I feel like they're like, okay, on to the next thing. Like once the election's over, it's just,
Like the day after, you're like, okay, what
yeah.
happened? Well, I think what happens too is historically, you know, in when the interest rates are lower, your buying power is higher. But it also goes both ways. If you're selling a property, you might make more, but now you're going to spend more.
Sure.
So
Right.
it still balances itself out universally across the board. I know that when I've spoken to people within the finance industry, they're hoping to see, a decrease, a large enough decrease to re-trigger the refinance market. But again, every market has its pros and cons. And I know that it was challenging as the interest rates were increasing and the inventory is low. What is the difference? What does it look like where you are? How's the inventory? I mean, is it very similar to Connecticut? Obviously, we're in New York, but I feel like different markets have different opportunities. So is your market predominantly single family housing at this point?
Where I am, just outside of, in the Lake Norman area, just outside of Charlotte, there is quite a bit of inventory. Sales have slowed down a little bit. I mean, there are some of the homes that do fly off the market, but for the most part, there is a healthy inventory. Connecticut is still lacking inventory, and I'm still very connected to the market in Connecticut. I've still got business there, and it just hasn't seemed to be able to catch up with everybody else. Florida, where I'm also licensed, there are so many houses on the market now. It's just crazy. So you're starting to see more price reductions, and you're starting to see people renting their property out. So the market is different, very state to state, and certainly town to town. But I would say, where we live in North Carolina, it's a healthy market. I think we've seen the height of the prices. So I know a lot of sellers were kind of riding that wave, watching their home value go up and up. And I think that now they're starting to catch on that it might be time for a price reduction if they've been on the market. It's not going to go back, I don't think, anytime soon to the way it was. I think we've hit the peak. Again, I could be wrong, but I think that the days of the cars lining the road and 25 offers on properties, I think we're past that at this point.
Did it make you feel better saying it out loud?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't love that market. It was just, for me, I really like the traditional real estate transaction. You take a couple out to look at a property, they're excited, they want to come back and look at it, they want to bring their parents, they do a home inspection, they ask for repairs or whatever. In that market, it felt like we weren't doing right by our clients because we were skipping inspections, and in order for them to get the house, they had to waive all sorts of things, and it just didn't feel right in my gut. So I didn't love that market for that reason. Sure, as a listing agent, it was easy peasy. I listed a house and I got 50 offers the next day. And that wasn't a lot. That wasn't fun either, going through all those offers. And the poor sellers who've like never done this before, you're showing them all these offers and trying to make sense of escalation clauses and, all these different things. And it was really just, I just didn't enjoy it. And so
Yeah,
maybe that's
it became transactional
Yeah,
instead of personal and emotional.
exactly. Yep. And you have a lot of people that I feel that they probably worry that they overpaid and are maybe kicking themselves at some of the prices, that they've paid in the past. And I don't know if they're going to see that value again for a little while. So I think there's a little bit of buyer remorse that has come into play too, with maybe things that have come up and maybe that an inspection would have brought up, but that they did not get the chance to have. So
And we see it still here in New York, but you're right, the market has definitely corrected itself. And I don't see that there's a tremendous, the opportunities that were once available, I think are just no longer available. And even when I'm speaking to my real estate investors that are looking for properties per se, they're they're not able to grab inventory as easily, as they once.
I,
So,
yeah.
universally, between the interest rates, the cost of materials, like there's so many factors that go into these different real estate transactions. But for the sake of time, what do you have coming up? Anything good? Like what's next for you?
Well, what I would like to do is I'd like to get a few Airbnbs for myself. I know my fiance and I are interested in doing that, especially in the North Carolina area, probably. But honestly, I just want to enjoy the fruits of my labor with some of these deals that have closed and will be closing. It's been a long road and it's been a challenging road, and I'd like to just honestly, I'd like to take a little break,
Take a
to be
break.
honest with you. Um, but I just haven't felt like we've been able to do that. And I love working, I love clients, I love putting deals together, but I'd also love to just take a little break. So I'm hoping that we can, take some time for a trip or a nice vacation or something. And that's really what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to just really building our life in North Carolina. And we love our hometown and we love being on the lake. So it's just been really exciting. But I'm just excited for like our first holiday season here, um and just really watching my clients with their businesses that we're funding bring their ideas to fruition. That makes me so happy to see other people thriving with their ideas too.
Well, because you were part of that.
Yeah.
You were part of the team that made it happen. And let's not forget, we are getting into colder months soon. So I know that I'm sure you'll be in Colorado or Utah. You'll be flying somewhere and taking a break if I know you at all.
Yes.
You will
Yep.
have no time finding a couple of days to disconnect. And I
Yeah.
know that you're getting ready to do some networking. Last thought about how do people go out and find the right networking opportunities?
Think about what's important to you. Do you want to meet people locally? That would be great for like a BNI or a chamber. Or is your business more global and are you looking to attract people all over the country? There are many, many events that are in person, and I know that that's not feasible for everybody. There's also a lot of really great groups that you can join that are virtual, that meet every week or every other week. And it's a great way to have a power hour with other executives and entrepreneurs based on whatever your business is. So think about what your goal is and who is your customer or client. What does that ideal person look like to you? And where would you find them? So it's great for, if you're a local business and you want local clientele, then you join things locally. If it's more global or more national, then you would want to get involved in networking events that have people joining that are, from other areas of the country or world.
Well, I love it. Dana, once again, I love having you on. Today's show just went by so fast. I love having you on. Tell everybody, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, so if you're interested in reaching out to me, my email is Dana, Dana, and it's at danaflanagan.com. So Dana at danaflanagan.com. And I post a lot of this on my social media. So you can find me on Facebook. It's just my name, Dana Flanagan, or Instagram or LinkedIn. And Instagram is Dana Flanagan Official. So I'd look forward to hearing from all of you.
I love it. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us. You and I will chat offline. I want to hear all about your upcoming trip when you get back, and say hello to everybody in Utah for me.
Oh, thank you so much, Rhonda. Always a pleasure.
You got it. Until next time, stay tuned. We're getting ready to bring you information about next week's show.